In a world of noise, silence is strength. We live in a time when everyone talks, everyone shares, everyone seeks attention, yet few are heard. True power doesn't scream. It doesn't beg. It doesn't need to perform. It simply exists, calm, deliberate, grounded. And when it speaks, it shakes the room. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, was not known for boastful speeches or dramatic declarations. He was known for his presence, his ability to rule the greatest empire on earth while maintaining a quiet, focused mind. His strength was not in volume, but in clarity. Today we explore why the strongest men stay silent, and how silence, when practiced with discipline and depth, becomes a weapon sharper than words. This is not weakness. This is not passivity. This is presence. Here are 7 Stoic secrets that reveal the true power of silence. A man who speaks too quickly reveals his lack of control. One of the most dangerous habits a man can develop is the urge to react immediately, to defend, to explain, to attack, to be heard. But Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." The first purpose of silence is to contain the storm within. Stoicism teaches that emotions are not facts. They are impressions, and we must not act on them until reason has examined them. A silent man is not emotionless. He simply delays expression until the emotion is understood. This gives him tremendous power. He becomes reliable in chaos, trusted in conflict, respected in uncertainty. When others lose control, he remains still. That stillness speaks louder than any outburst ever could. Silence trains patience. Patience builds wisdom, and wisdom commands respect. Mastery over emotions is what allows a man to be trusted with responsibility. A man who cannot master his own reactions will never lead others well. When silence becomes the default, emotion is filtered, intention is clarified, and action becomes powerful. Stoic silence is not repression, it's refinement. It allows space between stimulus and response, and in that space lies freedom. The more a man practices it, the stronger he becomes. Words are energy, and most men waste them. The Stoics believe that we are not here to debate endlessly, gossip, or prove our brilliance to others. Marcus Aurelius said, "Let your one delight and refreshment be to pass from one act to another, with God in mind, and with no idle word or deed in between." Every time you speak unnecessarily, to seek attention, approval, or dominance, you leak power. You dilute your purpose. You distract your focus. The strong man knows when to speak, and more importantly, when not to. This restraint creates focus. It keeps your thoughts aligned. It prevents regret. Most arguments, most apologies, most misunderstandings happen because of words spoken in haste or pride. When you speak less, you mean more. Protect your energy. Guard your voice. Let your actions carry the message. A man must treat his words like currency. Not every conversation deserves your attention. Not every insult requires a response. Not every situation benefits from your commentary. Discipline in speech is discipline in life. Silence also helps us observe more. By listening instead of reacting, we learn. We gather information. We understand motives. And that understanding gives us a tactical advantage in life. Strong men use their silence as armor. They are not drained by the need to explain themselves or argue with fools. They know who they are, and that certainty speaks louder than any monologue. What people can't read, they respect. What they can predict, they ignore. In the modern world, overexposure kills authority. If you constantly reveal what you think, what you plan, how you feel, you become ordinary. But when you keep some things within, when you remain composed and selective with your words, people begin to wonder, listen, and respect. Marcus Aurelius rarely revealed his personal frustrations or desires. He simply observed, acted, and reflected. His silence was not absence. It was power. Mystery breeds presence. People lean in when they can't quite read you. Your calm becomes commanding. Your minimal words carry weight. The man who speaks rarely is often assumed to have much to say. The man who always speaks is rarely listened to. Let your silence amplify your impact. Mystery doesn't mean hiding or deceiving. It means maintaining boundaries. It means not being emotionally transparent to everyone. It means preserving parts of your soul for yourself. This makes you less manipulable, less predictable, and more respected. Strong men do not chase attention. They command it by their calm, by their distance, by their reserve. Their mystery becomes a magnet. It builds influence without effort. That is the paradox. Say less, be more. If you always speak, your words lose value. But when you are silent by nature, when you choose your moments carefully, your words become events. The Stoics believe that virtue is shown in action, not noise. Marcus Aurelius didn't preach like a philosopher. He lived like one. His words were written in private, for discipline, not for applause. Today, men are often pressured to speak for attention, to fill space, to have an opinion about everything. But the strong man understands. The more you say, the less you're heard. Silence disciplines the tongue. And when the tongue is disciplined, the message carries more depth. When you speak only what is necessary, your voice cuts through the noise. A single phrase from a grounded man can redirect a conversation, a room, or a life. Speak rarely, but when you do, speak truth. The man who guards his speech becomes a man of weight. People will listen more closely when you do speak. They will analyze your meaning, consider your tone, remember your words. Every sentence becomes a signal. Every pause creates tension. Every silence demands respect. This is how leaders are made, not by being loud, but by being wise. In the Stoic tradition, speaking well is not just about clarity, it's about necessity. Say only what improves upon silence. Most people talk because they're afraid to be alone with their thoughts. Stoics knew that solitude is strength. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to retreat inward, to examine his mind, to sharpen it in silence. Know where you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul. A man who practices silence becomes self-reliant. He no longer needs validation, constant conversation, or external entertainment to feel alive. He learns to sit in stillness, to think, to correct himself, to center. This kind of man doesn't need to talk through everything. He processes, he reflects, and he emerges with clarity that talkers will never understand. Silence is not just the absence of sound, it is the presence of depth, and only those willing to sit in it become truly unshakable. When you are silent, you are forced to confront yourself. You begin to see your insecurities, your mental noise, your unresolved emotions. And in doing so, you start cleaning your inner world. The Stoics were warriors of the mind. They believed in rigorous self-examination. Silence is how you sharpen your sword before stepping into battle. It prepares you for life's complexity. In battle, whether in war, business, or relationships, silence is often the sharpest sword. Marcus Aurelius never let emotion dictate his leadership. He faced betrayal, war, and crisis with composure. He understood the value of restraint, that often saying nothing reveals more than speaking impulsively. When others attack, silence disarms. When others lie, silence watches. When others panic, silence leads. In conflict, the man who holds his tongue is the man in control. Silence forces the other to fill the gap. It reveals truth. It tests motives. It shows strength. In leadership, silence allows space for others to speak, to grow, to be seen. It creates clarity and focus in a noisy world. Speak less, lead more. Leadership is not about commanding attention. It's about commanding trust. When you don't speak from insecurity or ego, your team listens more intently when you finally do. Silence in leadership cultivates gravity. Even in negotiation or confrontation, silence creates pressure. It puts the other party off balance. It gives you power. It's a psychological weapon, and the strongest men know how to wield it. Above all, silence connects you to something higher. The Stoics saw silence as a way to align with nature, reason, and the divine. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that he was not just a ruler of men, but a servant of a higher order. His quiet time was not escape, it was alignment. In silence, you hear your conscience. You hear the truth. You separate what is noise from what is necessary. A man who does not make time for silence will forever be distracted, confused, and scattered. But a man who embraces silence becomes aligned with mission, with virtue, with eternity. Your voice is important, but your silence is sacred. In the quiet, you hear the call of purpose. You see the higher picture. You tap into the divine wisdom that is drowned out by noise. Every great man in history had moments of silence, where he realigned, recalibrated, and reemerged more focused. A Stoic does not fear silence. He thrives in it. You do not need to speak to prove your strength. In a world of constant chatter, the man who can stand still, observe, and act deliberately holds true power. Marcus Aurelius ruled not with shouts, but with silence. Not with force, but with presence. Let your life be the loudest thing about you. Let your discipline speak. Let your silence command. The Stoic doesn't talk to be heard. He acts to be remembered.